What's up, YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Shaymin in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun me movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. If you enjoy these, they help you out, drop a like, and let's get into it. So, Shaymin is one of the few mythicals I haven't done yet. This Pokemon has some interesting stuff about it because you got the normal form and then you got the sky form, and their stats do change too, as does the typing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to suggest a set for the normal or the land form and then the sky form, and I'll sort of alternate between there. This Pokemon doesn't see a lot of usage, but the sky form definitely does, due to the ability being different. So for the Shaymin here, we've got 100 in every stat, which is really, really good. Makes it a very tanky Pokemon, and also hits quite hard as well. So we've only got one ability for normal Shaymin, Natural Cure, so nothing super amazing there. So with normal Shaymin, I like to make this a defensive wall, and it works pretty nicely. Grass Pokemon a reasonable defensive wall. So this set, we've got max health and defense, bold nature, last EVs and special defense there. It has Leech Seed and Substitute, which works really, really well together. And it's got a good amount of health too. So it's got 100. It's got 100 like substitutes there, so you can have four of those, which is really, really good, or 101 substitute. But it's got 100 plus HP substitute, which is really good. Giga Drain is a great move there for recovery. If you want to have a little bit more power in it, you could have Seed Flare, but I feel like Giga Drain sort of builds on this set a little bit better. You get health back, and then you sort of add to the Leech Seed. Last move I put on there is Earth Power, just for coverage, so like Fire-type Pokemon, Steel-type Pokemon. It's very, very good for that too. Probably the biggest weakness with this sort of set is a Flying-type Pokemon, but you wouldn't really stay in a Flying-type anyway with a Shaymin. So yeah, that's our first build here. The Terra, I don't mind Terra Water as a defensive Terra on there. That way, flying at least is neutral. Ice is not very effective. Fire is not very effective. And bug is neutral, so it's not too bad for that. For more of a defensive build on Shaymin. So let's check out the next build here for Shaymin Sky. So Shaymin Sky is obviously a much more offensive and better Pokemon overall there. In terms of like offensive and speed, and overall too, mostly. It also has a better ability in Serene Grace, and it's got some really good moves that work well with Serene Grace too. Now, let's have a look at some... We're sort of having a look at some single sets at the moment, but this could somewhat work in doubles for sure. The doubles one can run just a tiny bit different. So, having a look at the stats, like Shaymin normal, that had 100 and everything. This has 100 only in health, so it's got like a sort of a mixed bag of stats. So it's definitely a speedy special attacker, 120 in special attack, 127 in speed. We've got a grass and flying type and Serene Grace, so any of those secondary effects are going to be doubled, which is going to be great for a move like Seed Flare. So Seed Flare has a whopping 40% chance to drop the opponent's special defense by 2 stages, so crazy, crazy move. And with Serene Grace, that makes it 80%. So it can just power, like, it's going to be powering through. Even not very effective Pokemon swapping into this are going to be in a lot of trouble for sure. So it makes it a very, very good Pokemon to use. Now, you can run a couple of items on this too, so I'll go over those. So this is, I've got Wide Lens on here. Kind of like Wide Lens. It's like a low-key good item on it because Seed Flare, very powerful, very good secondary effects, but it's 85% accuracy. So with the Wide Lens there, you get an extra 10% sort of accuracy on there. So you're actually going into 90s percent accuracy there, or a little bit above 90. So that's going to be good because you're not going to miss as much. Now, Air Slash is great too because Air Slash is stab, like Seed Flare, and you have 60% chance to flinch the opponent, which is really good because and it's stab too. And with the Wide Lens, you're not going to be missing there. So that's going to be super, super handy. That's the thing about Air Slash, you can miss with it. It's got that 5% chance. It's annoying, right, if you're going for flinches. Now, Earth Power is very, very good just for coverage. We mentioned this already, you know, Fire-type Pokemon, really good in Steel types. Struggles against Steel types if it doesn't. Always need Earth Power on Shaymin Sky. Now, the last move is a bit of a filler. I have Psychic on there. You can also put Healing Wish on there. That's quite a good move too. It's like a last sort of slot move. You're not going to be using too much. But let's say Shaymin Sky's done everything it can do. It's flinched a lot of Pokemon. It can't do much. It's on a low amount of health. You know the opponent's got some priority moves or there's some entry hazards on the field. You can go for a Healing Wish, right? That's another option. Now, if you want this to hit a bit harder, you can go Choice Specs. So Choice Specs Seed Flare is going to be hitting really, really hard. In some ways, it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit of Serene Grace because you're dropping special defense, so it's hitting so hard it probably doesn't matter, but it definitely would affect Pokemon that resist it, though, so that's what makes it very, very good for that sort of stuff. It has a really, really high speed stat, too, 127 base. It's going to be outspeeding most things, but if you find you want it to be even faster and go before a lot of those, real speedy Pokemon, you can run Choice Scarf on there too. And you can even keep Healing Wish on there. That would actually work because you can just use it and then you're going to faint anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you've got a choice item. So that's another way of running a Shaymin. I like Terra-type Steel on there because it's 4 times weak to Ice. It's nasty, really. It's a nasty one to have. Also, you got Flying too, so that's going to resist the Flying, which is good. So it's a nice type to have on there. I like Steel on Shaymin Sky. Just any 4 times weakness is always a big target on a Pokemon, so it's good for that for sure. Let's have a look at some doubles now. All right, we'll do a double set for a normal Shaymin. So we're going to go bulky on this, of course. So max health, 108 in defense and 148 in special defense calm nature. That gives it pretty good all-around bulk. And I've got Grassy Seed here. So you could go, actually, let's go Electric Seed instead. Sorry. So Electric Seed with use of like Miraidon and stuff. Or you could do Rillaboom as well if you wanted to, but having 2 grass may be better with Miraidon. So Electric Seed boost there, and then you've got, I haven't done as much defense because, we're getting a defensive boost from Electric Seed, so that makes it very, very bulky all around there. So it does get Tailwind, which is great. Support move, Earth Power for any of its, we've talked about that already. It's very, very good for coverage. Now you can do some cool stuff with Worry Seed as well. You can give your allies the ability not to be put to sleep, so you get insomnia. So that's good against any annoying Pokemon like Spore and Dark Void and stuff like that. Or Pokemon like Slaking, getting rid of like annoying abilities like Truant. It's really, really good for that. So that's another option. And then I've just popped on Seed Flare there for some high base power. And even with 40%, it still has a good chance to drop the special defense by 2 stages as well. So more of a tanky defensive set. The Terra I've got here is Fairy. Generally just a good bulky Terra type for sure. You could put on this one. So it is weak to fire, and I like Water on this as a defensive one too. So Fairy and Water could work very well. Either one of those, if you want to use this in doubles or whatever. Now, obviously in VGC, you can't use these Pokemon currently, but just in case, ever come back, you could use one mythical. I just wanted to cover this sort of stuff too. Just thought I'd put that out there. But you can still use it in doubles, of course. There's lots. I like to do my videos for every sort of type of rule set, so you can just apply the set to whatever rule you're playing, or if you're just playing casual or VGC, Smogon, anything like that, you could just apply it to it, right? I always like to say I like to cover every sort of rule set, not just one. I feel like it gets stale then you're only playing for that, that type of rule set then. Let's have a look at another double set. So, Shaymin Sky, we're going to go full offensive for this one. Now, this is a Sun Sweeper, and it pops off for sure there, right? So we've got Seed Flare, Air Slash, Earth Power. I'm going to be real with you. If you're not running these 3 moves on Shaymin Sky for a competitive one, you're doing it wrong. You need to have these 3 moves. Like, there's no, like, if, buts, or maybes. It has a very, very small move pool too, and this works with its ability really well. And even Earth Power has 20% chance to drop the special events too, so it's a much higher stat. So I don't mind the idea of growth on this, because you can have the Sun up, and then you can go for a growth, and then you can get us +2 in the Sun, and then you can just spam Seed Flares and stuff, which is very, very powerful for sure. Air Slash is great too, flinching and Earth Power just for coverage. So if you coupled this with like Torkoal or something like that, or Groudon, that would be really, really good. If you feel like you don't need to boost your stats, you can just give it something like Protect. That's also a very handy move to have there for doubles on Shaymin. I've got Covert Cloak on there just in case it, prone to anything like Fake Out or secondary effects. It can be handy. I probably wouldn't have Protect and Covert Cloak. You could have something else on there. I did like Growth on there. I thought Growth was actually pretty good. You could have Tailwind on there too if you're worried about getting outsped, but I'd probably adjust the speed EVs a little bit there too. So yeah, we'll go with Growth on that. I think that's interesting. It's going to be hitting very, very hard for sure. Extremely, extremely hard. So, EVs, straight, special attack, and speed, Timber Nature, pretty much. Now, you could definitely run a Choice Scarf set in doubles if you like. You could definitely do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind this set because it gives you a little bit more freedom to use your other moves. That's the only difference there. Now, I went Terra type flying, so you could really boost the power of Air Slash and to flinch there. And then you could go Terra Grass if you just want to fire off Seed Flares. That's definitely an option too. Or you can go straight up defensive Terra with Steel. That is an option too. Definitely an option. So you don't die to like an Ice Shard or something like that. That's definitely an option there too for Shaymin Sky. Alright, let's have a look at a few PIMPNITE special sets, and we'll go over some teammates and some more thoughts for this Pokemon. Alright, we've got a PIMPNITE special here, so now this one is going to be a baton passing set, so it's actually got some pretty good bulk and speed. So I thought, why couldn't you make this into a baton pass with like Terra Water and Resto Chesto? Because it does get Natural Cure, and you can use Rest for Natural Cure, so you can always heal it up, and it can still be asleep, and you just swap it out, and therefore it's not, it's awake when you swap it back in, so it can work there somewhat quite good. Baton Pass, a Sunny Day, and then you've got Growth as well. Sunny Day, I was thinking for another healing move, the Forbidden Healing move. That could work too. Or you've got Sword Dance too. So you could either you got a special attacker, you could pass that, or you could set up Sunny Day and go Growth and pass on +2 in special attack, +2 in attack, right? So it's kind of low-key. It's like kind of a low-key good baton passer with that strategy. So max speed and max defense for bulk. And yeah, just another way to run it. Defensive, Terra Water as defensive, and pass your Growth onto another Pokemon. You could pass it onto a stored power Pokemon, and instantly there. You could pass it onto Espartha, with stored power. So and then it will get a speed boost, and then you have an instant +5 on stored power. Pretty powerful. So that's another way you could run Shaymin. Let's have a look at the Sky form now. Alright, I made up this really scummy set for a physical one. And its attack stat actually isn't complete garbage too. So we've got Sword Dance, which we were just talking about there. Zen Headbutt with Serene Grace is going to make it 40%. So that's pretty cool. Play Rough will be 20%, and we've got Bullet Seed. Now, Bullet Seed obviously doesn't have any like secondary effects to it, but I figure with the King's Rock, that would stack well with Serene Grace. Now, King's Rock won't work with any moves that have a flinch chance, right? So, no Zen Headbutt or anything like that. However, it'll stack onto Bullet Seed and Play Rough, and it'll be double the effect. So King's Rock effects is affected by Serene Grace. So that will make King's Rock effects be 20% on Bullet Seed and Play Rough, not Zen Headbutt though. It only works on moves that have no secondary. So, yeah, that could be a fun set. And, I figured after a Sword Dance, it'd be hitting pretty hard. Imagine if you got 4 or 5 hits with Bullet Seed. Like, that would be a 20% chance to flinch, which would be kind of nasty with 5 hits. So, it could be a really, really salty set. I went Terra Type Psychic because Zen Headbutt's got the highest flinch chance there. It's got 40%. And then, if where your Dark type comes in, then where your Terra Psychic, you can go for Play Rough. So kind of has some okay synergy there, but bit of a fun set you could go for. It's more of a salt-inducing set though. I mean, I like salt-inducing sets, but yeah, a bit of fun there. Let's have a discussion with some teammates and counters and stuff like that. Okay, so for Shaymin, I would think a good teammate, not a bad teammate, would be Archer Luden. Because they sort of synergize well together for their typing, and you could always swap it in to get stamina boost. Any sort of, like, at least ice moves and neutral and stuff like that too, which is good. And being a steel type. And then you've got any fire type moves as well. You might be able to boost up its stamina with that. Another good one is Don Dozo. So any ice, that's got to do nothing. Any fire, that's got to do nothing. And it can probably set up and threaten both of those types of Pokemon. You've got Tyranitar as well. That's a good Pokemon. Definitely a good Pokemon. As sort of like, getting rid of those fire types, that'd be good. Any ice types is going to be able to deal with them. That's nice. And then you've got some counters. So any priority moves really get around Shaymin Sky. So, of course, you've got Terra Normal Arceus. That gets around Shaymin Sky really easily. If you look at its defensive stat, it's not the greatest in the world. It's got a good health stat, but not a good defensive stat. And no one runs health on it, mostly. So, that's going to be a bad. Another good one is Baxcalibur. Any Ice Shard Pokemon like that are going to absolutely destroy. Or at the minimum, they're going to force Shaymin Sky to use their Terra up right away. Another good one as well that's a great counter is Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's not affected by Earth Power, and it's very, very tanky, and Seed Flare is not going to do much. Ho-Oh would have to get hit by multiple Seed Flares, but then it can just swap out and get a Regenerator boost and ignore those drops there if it swaps out and swaps back in, and it can just destroy it with Sacred Fire. So that's another good counter there. That's why we're talking about Legendaries and some other Pokemon. There's quite a lot of them. Let's have a look at the... Let's have a look at some remaining moves that it has here. I'll do both forms because they both learn different moves. Firstly, we'll do Shaymin. Then, there's no Shaymin lose in the game, or was like that pun. So, as you can see, very, very barren. So, we looked at Baton Pass, we looked at Healing Wish, Leech Seeder. You could go Sword Dance if you wanted to, but it's very, very, like I said, it's very limited. Same as the other one there. Growth and Sunny Day. It does get Sweet Kiss as a bit of a gimmick thing. You might be able to do something there. And Worry Seed is interesting because, like, I was talking about this before. If you had something like Slaking and Worry Seed, that would be good because you could get rid of this annoying ass ability and it could be quite a good partner, So just interesting there. Interesting sort of Pokemon. Special moves. So, Air Slash, it's got that too, but it's no good on Shaymin because, one, it doesn't have Serene Grace, and two, it's not a flying type, so it's not all that good. It's only really good for, like, another grass type. It does get Dazzling Gleam. Basically Earth Power, and you could do Seed Flare on there as well, but it doesn't really have a lot. Shaymin Sky has all the different, like, sort of moves there. And even that is still quite barren too. We'll have a look at physical for the heck of it, but it's very, very barren for sure. Then it's not much of a physical attacker. You could do something like maybe Sword Dance and Loaded Dice. You could do that with Bullet Seed. And then you could have something like, Terra Blast Ground. That's quite a good Terra, by the way, on Shaymin. So Terra Blast Ground, which gives it pretty good coverage for sure against any Let's see. Probably the only thing that's counting you there is flying type Pokemon. That would be a pain in the ass. But Terrablast Ground would be good for Steel and Fire type Pokemon. I don't think I'd be using this against a flying type anyway. So, yeah, that's another way you could run it for physical, but it's not much of a physical attacker. Let's have a look at Shaymin Sky. So we'll just show you how many more moves it opens up. It doesn't open up too many. Special moves, same sort of thing there. Not too much to choose from there. I did have a look at Growth. We already had a look at that. Tailwind. It does get Sword Dance, which is interesting, but it's more of a special attacker. So yeah, so its status doesn't really change too much. Its special moves, it don't really change either. It's more its ability and type that make some of these moves better, like Air Slash and Siege Flare and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You might be able to, I'm trying to think how you could boost it. Maybe you could like a gimmick set like this Arming Voice and Throat Spray maybe. But you'd have to carry a weak ass move on there, so you know, it could be interesting, but you're probably better off just using Growth if you want to boost a special attack. So yeah, there's its special moves, and then you got this physical, which is pretty much exactly the same anyway as the other one. So to sort of wrap this up here, Shaymin, in my opinion, normal Shaymin is a better like defensive, bulky support Pokemon, whereas Skyform, you've got the ability, you've got the you've got the right moves for it too. You've got the Flying Stab, and the Grass, the Seed Flare, and the Serene Grace, and you've got Earth Power's coverage too. So it works better as a sweeping Pokemon, Choice Scarf, Choice Specs kind of Pokemon. Serene Grace works really, really well for sure. Seed Flare is going to hit like an absolute truck as well, especially the second one. Don't think many Pokemon will be alive after the second one. But that's pretty much it for Shaymin and Skyform, or Landform and Skyform. Hope you enjoyed this one. I like doing the different forms of Pokemon. Next time, I think we're on to... We might be done with fourth... Oh, we might do the Pixies next time, like Uxie, Azolf, and Mesprit. I think we'll do those three next week. That's about it. Peace out.